Hi everyone, I'm Ozymandias and thank you so much for joining the channel. And today I want to talk about how Sony basically killed off in Destiny 2. Bungie has been yet another studio facing another round of immense layoffs in the wake of the 2024 great layoff of computer gaming. I mean, it's been horrendous from the likes of Ubisoft, Activision, Microsoft, Sony. I think Nintendo's pretty much the only one which hasn't. I think Square as well. Square's share price basically hasn't done very well recently. And now one of, a studio which is very close to my heart. I grew up playing the Halo games. I've basically poured in. I've not played on my Steam account. I played more on Destiny 2 than any other game. So yeah, and I think this is the end of the road. Yes, we had in the final shape, and if it is the final, then fine, I'll be happy with that. But it is a shame. So Bloomberg with Jason Schreier put out an article. So let's just read through it, and I'll give my points and opinions as we go along. But before we go with that, I'm Ozymandias. I used to be a social media manager in the esports world and Formula One, and now I want to take content creation over computer games. So thank you so much, and let's get into this. All right, so yada yada yada. This week's in gaming news: Doctor Spect, Roadblocks, Give a Fuck, and Game Informer. That's another one I want to do a video on actually, because they used to have the sickest covers. Anyway, in Destiny changed this week. Sony Corp's Bungie shrunk from 1,300 employees to roughly 850. Deep cuts that are likely to change the nature of the long-running video game developer. In Bungie, the story creators of the Halo franchise and the online game in Destiny, said it laid off 220 people Wednesday. Those cuts include several top executives who have been with the company for decades. According to people familiar, the team that were hit hard included audio, narrative, and player support. On social media, individuals shared their layoff stories, including one person who said they were going to maternity leave starting Monday. Ooh, that is bad times. That is very bad times. The company said it is also hoping to move 155 others to Sony Interactive Entertainment, while a separate group will spin out a new game company within Sony to continue working on an incubation project codenamed Gummy Bears. This is the second layoffs in less than a year as a Revered Game Studio, which was founded in 1991 and has created two of the industry's biggest franchises in Halo and in Destiny. The ambitious growth and some big misses led Bungie to lose money over the last 2 years, forcing the developer to cut costs, freeze salaries, and shed hundreds of workers. This week, to learn more about what happened and what comes next, I spoke to current and former Bungie employees who asked not to be identified because they were not authorized to speak to the press. They described the company that grew too fast and tried to develop too many projects at once, spreading resources too thin rather than prioritizing its chief moneymaker, Destiny 2. Most of the people were critical of Chief Executive Officer Pete Parsons, saying he had failed to take accountability for his own bad bet and that he'd been overly optimistic in his communication with the staff. Some said Parsons and other company leaders spoke of a Bungie magic. Magic, huh? Just like that in BioWare magic, which basically threw Dragon Age and both Mass Effect into absolute pits. Yeah, I want to know how widespread this magic is in the game industry, huh? Where you just basically crunch your staff. A confident mantra similar to the ones preached by early video game studios that are making anything out. See BioWare magic and arcade magic. Lol. Okay, lol. A Bungie spokesperson did not respond to request for comment. Bungie first released a Destiny in 2014 in partnership with Activision Blizzard under contract that called for the developer to release a new product every year. Full game alternating with expansions, but the schedule proved unattainable for Bungie, which cut ties with Activision in 2019, largely so it could continue updating Destiny 2 rather than start from scratch with another sequel. Since then, Bungie has transformed Destiny 2 into a live service game, updating it with new content with regular expansions. In early 2022, during the era of low interest rates and strong post-COVID sales across the industry, Sony purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion Looking at Destiny 2 as a model for its growing ambitions in live service games. Flush with cash, Bungie hired hundreds of new staff members and pursued myriad of incubation projects, including mobile version of a Destiny, remake of old games, and a new franchise. A mobile version of Destiny. Interesting. I think this paragraph here, to me, sums up the problem. During COVID, they just went on hiring sprees. And the problem is COVID was never going to last forever. We're now well out of COVID. You know, we are probably looming on a recession at the moment, especially today after Intel and all of the Taiwan stocks just basically crashed. But yeah, man, like, what did they think was going to happen? People were just going to not work? Like, and just keep on playing games? Like, it's just... I think ultimately that's what's happened. I think they just hired too many people too quickly, and now the industry isn't in its blooming phase anymore. It's now starting to plateau and become more stable. People have to be let go. It's as simple as that. But anyway, in the following year, as the industry pandemic surge slackened, Bungie grappled with several problems. An expansion called Lightfall failed to impress fans, while a marathon, an expansion shooter game that was well in development, struggled to coalesce. Meanwhile, the next Destiny expansion, called The Final Shape, was also floundering and needed more time to come together. During one grim meeting in late 2023, according to the people familiar, Parsons told staff that the company had missed its revenue target by 45%. Holy shit. And was losing money. Bungie delayed The Final Shape and Marathon and subsequently laid off around 100 employees. Feeling the pressure from parent companies seeking increased profitability and facing its own set of challenges, Bungie executives chartered a new course. Both Marathon and Destiny 2 received new leadership as Sony video game unit replaced its CEO and laid off 900 people. Oh. Wow. Earlier this year, Sony Interactive Entertainment chairman Hiroki Totoki publicly criticized Bungie, saying he wanted to see more accountability. Employees were hopeful that the extra time on The Final Shape would lead to great product, and the expansion received rave reviews, but the critical acclaim had little impact on the deeper cuts that were already in the works. Bungie, cuts that were already in the works at Bungie, as Gamefile's Stefan Tortillo reported on Thursday. In a blog post announced the layoffs this week, Parsons acknowledged that the company had grown too much. We were overly ambitious, our financial safety margins were subsequently exceeded, and we began running in the red, he wrote. One of Bungie's big bets was Payback, an incubation project set in the Destiny universe that would shake up the formula in major ways. According to people familiar, it would pivot from first-person to third-person perspective and allow players to use the franchise characters to explore the large world while incorporating to battle monsters and solving puzzles. The pitch took elements from popular games such as Warframe and Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact, right, Hoyoverse. That's a video in itself, how Hoyoverse has just decimated everyone. They just came in out of nowhere with Genshin, and now you go to any Comic-Con, there's at least one Starling, there's at least a whole group of the Genshin. It's like a cult, right? I mean, the costumes are amazing, I will give them that. And you've got the new one, the ZZZ one, which I've been playing a little bit. I don't really like the gacha games. They just have that layer of just microtransactions, monetization, which is just so in your face. And I've been playing ZZZ as well, and it's like I don't necessarily... I like the combat, I like the animations, I like the character designs, but that's about it. I don't like the exploration. I don't really like the weird grid system. But anyway, I'm going off a tangent. That's a video for another day, right? Hoyoverse, just every company in gaming wishes they had Genshin Impact. They wish. Although several internet rumors over the last few months have suggested that Playback would be a sequel to Destiny 2, it was a significant departure from the previous two games. According to people familiar, it would have been perceived more as a spin-off. But 2 months ago, Bungie cancelled payback to prioritize games that were more imminent, moving the bulk of the team to Marathon, which is targeting a late 2025 release. The company also plans to continue updating Destiny 2, although it will no longer pursue regular paid expansions, as it did in the past. According to people familiar, during one recent meeting, a company leader told attendees that sales of each expansion had declined year on year, including June's final shape, so they would be moving from an annual release model. But okay, yeah, fair enough. Some of the staff said that they were optimistic about the version of Destiny 2 under the new direction of Tyson Green, a Bungie veteran who took the helm earlier this year. In the coming months, the people said Bungie will look to retain and attract players with small-scale content drops modeled after Into the Light. A well-received update in April that added a new mode to the game rather than selling this content. They said Bungie will aim to release it for free, along with overhauls to activities that it hopes will appeal to hardcore players. Other vague plans for the future include storyline that will feature characters and worlds that Destiny has not yet explored. Fans have wondered if Bungie might one day start anew with Destiny 3, but such a project has not been in development, according to people familiar. But Bungie is instead looking to create a smooth onboarding process for Destiny 2, which is a rebranding to attract new players who may be turned off from the game that can now feel impenetrable to those familiar with ample proper nouns. My name is Pife did like a 10-hour Destiny lore video. I watched all of that before I got into the final shape because honestly, I had no fucking clue what the story was at that point. I played all of the expansions. Usually, to me, Destiny is my turn off my brain and shoot things game. Like, I don't really care for what's going on. Everything looks cool. You get the new loot, unlock the new gun, and get the new armor. So for me, that's all it really was. Those left at Bungie will now have to make do with smaller staff, tighter schedules, and company that looks significantly different than it did three days ago. Longtime veterans Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy exited this week, according to people familiar, as did several other top leaders, leaving lingering questions about the future and decision-making at Bungie. Bungie staff who lost their jobs are receiving packages that include at least 3 months of severance and health benefits, said people familiar. But just like last year's layoff, anyone who receives stock from Sony purchase that has not yet vested will watch it disappear. Ooh, another painful twist to the turbulent acquisition. Yeah. I think just add it to the pile of stories this year. You know, it's a massive shame to see Destiny 2 go out like this. I think that's going to be it. I think it'll be around. They'll keep the servers on for those who play, but, you know, it's not going to be the excitement that it once was. But in all fairness, you know, I remember when the first one was coming out and how they basically promised that this would be a 10-year game. And back then I was like, you know, what on earth? You know, live services weren't really a thing back then. They were still in their early days. No, I don't think Fortnite had been released at that point. If I do have to put anything, and if I do have to give Destiny and Bungie anything, as they did fulfill the 10-year promise. You know, they didn't cop out. You know, yes, they did. What was it? The Sunset and the Vaulting of the Red War and the previous content, which I thought was always weird. I don't understand why they didn't add like the Destiny 1 campaign and all of Destiny 2 into Destiny 2 and just call it in Destiny. Kind of like what Hitman has done. You know, Hitman and the Hitman 1, 2, 3 is now turned into Hitman in World of Assassinations. I've always felt that would have been the best approach, just to go, look, if you want to play this game, here you go. You know, even sell it as, you know, a £40 version or free to play. The other thing which I feel Destiny doesn't do well is I never really understood how they made their money other than the expansions, because you look at the store and to buy an outfit's like £20 in silver, man. Like it's not cheap. Like it's expensive. And I always just bought the expansions because they were cheaper. You know, I got more content out of it. You know, I always got more content out of it, more stuff to do, more activities, more missions. Why would I spend nearly the equivalent on a skin when I can buy a whole new expansion instead? You know, so it just never really made sense to me. Never, ever, ever really made sense to me. But I think the ultimate takeaway out of this is all eyes on him Marathon now. You know, after Concord just crashing and burning, Concord I don't think is going to survive more than a year. If it does, I'll be shocked to the high heavens. It's a game nobody asked for and nobody wanted, and I think it's also Sony not understanding who their audience are. I buy a PlayStation for the single play story narrative driven games. I buy an Xbox and PC to play the online games because PSN is shit, right? I remember the PS3 days of PSN. It was shit then, it was shit on PS4, and it's still shit now, right? It's just not good. It's just not stable. It's just dropping. No one uses their mics. It's just not good. And I don't understand, you know, Jim Ryan, I think's lasting legacy of PlayStation is ultimately this. This is what it all led to. This is what going balls deep into online services have done, and not realizing, you know, where your core audience. And I find it really interesting when you compare it to Sony in the movie and TV space, how you have HBO Max, you have Disney Plus, Peacock Plus, Paramount Plus, Apple Plus, Netflix. Sony's the only major studio which hasn't got its own streaming service, and it's licensing out all of its content, and it's making money because all these other studios have had to spend so much money into these streaming platforms that it's a drain. That no matter how much content does, it's still a drain because they're having to put the servers up for everything else. Sony played it smart. They didn't, you know, go after the sort of the streaming modeling TV and films, but seeing Sony Computer Interactive Entertainment, the computer game side, basically go for the same trap as everyone else in the industry, you know. And for me, for me in live service, it's always come down to this one thing: why should I give up a game which I poured hundreds of hours in, which I know inside and out, to play your new game, which is going to be pretty much not as polished, not as much content, probably not as good in 2024? Why should I give all that up? And even for those players who do probably migrate from, say, something like In the First in Ascendant, I think this news is the best thing that the First in Ascendant could ever ask for, because now as a Destiny player, I know there's no point in playing anymore. Not really, right? I played the game, I played all the expansions, I've got the ending which I wanted in the final shape. Something different, okay? That's now, I think this is ultimately what it is. This is the end. But for things like Fortnite, which I play a lot of, why would I move over to COD? Why would I move over to Halo? Why would I move over to any other type of shooter game, you know, multiplayer, which I play with my friends? So it's a tough sell. It's becoming an increasing market, and I think ultimately out of this story, it's just another shame. That's all I can say. It's just another massive shame that this may be the way Destiny ends. And also, hopefully, fingers crossed, if Marathon comes out and it's another Concord, you know, Destiny will be the last worry that Bungie will ever have. And it's just not looking good, bruv. It's just not looking good. That's it. But anyway, thank you for listening to me read through this article and rant and rave and talk about my opinions. Please do leave a comment and let me know what you think. Is this the end of Destiny 2 as we know it? Do you have hope in any other projects which Bungie currently have? Or do you feel that it might come out and be another Concord? But anyway, thank you and take care. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.